I'm here with Emmy Award-winning actor Ed Asner, who's doing a comedy show down here in Lower Manhattan, and it's called A Man and His Prostate. So the question that is begged to be asked is, what's funny about prostate?
What's funny about prostate? I don't have it. I can talk about it and make fun of all those poor goddamn victims who suffer. This show deals with it comedically, but at the same time is informative.
You have a long history with the writer of the show, Ed Weinberger.
Yeah.
How did you guys meet?
Well, he was loaded on us. We had to take him. He was added to the company after we began, and I've always rued the day. He's a lowlife.
Maybe we'll get his opinion on this if he comes in. Did you guys meet on the Mary Tyler Moore Show or before that?
To me, he was non-existent. And I keep trying to make him that way now, but it doesn't work.
People keep on asking questions anyway. Do you have a different approach to theater or film work? Is there a process that's different or a sensibility that's different for you?
I don't know. If it's comedy, we keep working it until we try to get as many laughs in as possible and find a way to get there or cut if it doesn't happen. Either venue, it doesn't matter. You just keep working on it, sharpening it. The veterans of vaudeville knew every little stinking period and comma, what it would do, what it would achieve.
Well, that's the advantage of theater, possibly, that you get to work the same material over and over again.
Yeah, you have to speed it up with film. But you also don't get lazy. In film.
In film? In what way?
Yeah. Well, you know, you're going to have to do it within a certain length of time. So you speed up your thinking process.
Is there a technique you've used in that kind of a situation to do that kind of a speed up?
I would think the only technique I apply is if something's not working, I tend to just try to simplify it and get through it as quickly as possible. And quite often it works. Making it too complicated can stink.
What about working with directors?
The directors that have stood out for me were those who had who had done their homework, who saw my character doing this a certain way. I came on the scene, did the rehearsal. They saw that I had a different approach. And they then realized that my approach was a good alternate to what they had devised. And they let me go ahead with maybe a modification or two. But they recognize other opinions.
So a good director is one that lets you do what you want to do.
Oh, come on. No, you devil, you son of a bitch.
I got called a son of a bitch by Ed Asner. This is the best day in the world. You know, talking about that kind of an attitude, talking about an actor's brand, was that ever...
You want to see it?
Yeah, not that brand. Was that ever something that you thought about for yourself in terms of a brand, or it just came naturally for you, or is that anything you ever contemplated in terms of what your image was over time?
Well, I'm the avuncular boss, relative. I mean, the funny thing is, I did Up in '09.
Right.
Yeah, that's what 7 years ago. I haven't heard from Disney since.
Those bastards.
You said it.
Well, how about when you were younger? In a lot of the roles you were doing in the 50s
Why, am I
and 60s.
too old for you?
Yeah, when you were saying the father or when you were younger, did you feel that you always had that authoritarian kind of image?
I think what I wanted to do and be, and that what I would be selected as, is every man. Every man, blue collar, you name it, businessman.
So is that something you
Never
thought
a
of?
leading man. Certainly, as each hair fell off my head, I thought the chances were slimmer and slimmer.
There's a story bouncing around the internet that you were doing theater in Europe for the Army, but then there's other things that say you didn't.
No. I managed my post's basketball team, and we played the French villages and cities and other Army teams
Yeah.
when I was stationed.
Were you doing any acting before the Army?
Oh, an amateur, yeah. I was an amateur actor, and finally I was in the Signal Corps, and I was sent to Fort Monmouth and assigned to learn radar repair, you know. Finally, one day I went to the Special Services officer, and I said, I'm an actor, and I'd like to get into Special Services. Yeah. He said, we're 15 miles from New York. What the hell do we need you for? I said, oh, okay, I'll go back to learning about the radar.
And that was it. So did you know that you wanted to be an actor at that time, though?
Yeah.
So you came out of the Army, and what was your...
Well, a couple of weeks before I was stationed in France. A couple of weeks before I got out, I got a letter from Paul Sills, whom I had known at the University of Chicago, where we were both amateurs together. And he said, we're starting a theater on the near north side of Chicago. It's going to be a good theater. It's going to do classics and originals. Come join us. My life fell into place.
So it just started happening from there. And were you formally trained as an actor, or that was the beginning of that?
I learned on stage. And then once I got to New York, I studied with Mira Rostova. And she was a great teacher.
So do you recommend younger actors still study, not just jump in, or a combination?
Well, if they're getting work and people like the way they audition, I guess you could say there's no need for that. They know what they're doing, or they've learned enough. But they got to keep busy. They got to keep performing before somebody who says you stink or you're good. You have to rebound off some kind of wall.
Ed, thank you so much. It was such a pleasure meeting
what
you.
The hell? I hate to leave this chair, though. It's comfortable.
It's comfortable.
To live, always to live, as if we never had to die.